And now, Gimmick Infringement!
Welcome to Gimmick Infringement. I am one of your hosts, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and I am not joined by Brad today. As we record, Brad is definitely at the Marana High School auditorium, working so hard, preparing for Marana High Theater's next performance. We love Brad. He's actually going to grace this episode, don't you worry. But for now, I am joined by, the intro for this man. You know this face, you're going to hear this voice if you're listening on audio. He is the creator, the founder, the host of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. He is co-host of 19 Media's Hidden Gems Football. And of course, he is the GI bro. We put out the bat signal over Crown Heights, and it was answered. Mike Steph, welcome back to Gimmick Infringement. What's going on, brother? Great to see you.
Hey, what's going on, Tyler? How's everything? I'm so grateful that y'all did send the bat signal out, and I was able to oblige and bless the masses with my presence. And not only that, but more humbly, just being able to join the screen and audio airwaves of Mr. TMB himself. So yeah, it's great. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling, and I appreciate it. And such a monumentous occasion that we've joined. It's going to be a great episode. I got 1,000,001 thoughts.
There's no doubt. We can't wait to hear him, Mike. You teased this perfectly. It is a momentous occasion because we were able to book you following two important items. First, your wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to you and the missus. You're in high demand. The fact that we got you straight off the heels of the anniversary, this was not an easy feat. That bat signal took effort. This is true. And then secondly, coming off the heels of your season 2 finale, I know you're prepping for season 3 of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. Mike, we love seeing you. We're so happy to have you. And like you said, I cannot think of a better episode to welcome you back. We are going to talk WWE Elimination Chamber. We're going to prepare for AEW Revolution this weekend. We're going to fit in time, of course, to prepare for the Bachelor hometowns. We got a Trap Tales Crown Heights edition. We're going to New York. But we must start by bringing back a classic. It is time for Back in the Day. Hit the music.
And now it's time to get old school. Prepare yourselves for Back in the Day.
Mike Steph, Back in the Day. You and I spoke about this during the production meeting. This is legitimately one of my favorite moments in sports history. Mike, do you remember the year 2012?
Yeah. It was actually, that was a good year for me. That was a pretty good year for me. Shoot, that was 13 years ago. But yeah, it was pretty good. 2012, the year of CM Punk.
Hey, and you do have on the shirt. Very nice. Do you remember what you were doing on February 26, 2012?
I probably do, but it's not great for the airwaves.
Okay, so I don't recall what I was doing. That was a long time ago, but I know what professional bowler Pete Weber was up to. That's right, on February 26, 2012, so now over 13 years ago, Pete Weber was bowling during the U.S. Open, one of the biggest events in bowling every single year. It came down to the wire. He was competing for the championship. Mike Steph, when I tell you Pete Weber delivered the most epic strike in the history of bowling, I would imagine many of our listeners and viewers are familiar with the name Pete Weber, or familiar with the clip that I'm about to explain. If you're not, simply Google this. The most epic strike in the history of bowling. So Mike, he goes up, pressure's on, he delivers this strike, all the pins get knocked down, and this is really what took it to the next level. It was so pro wrestling. It was aura. It was giving everything I needed. Pete Weber knocks all the pins down and proceeds to yell as people are clapping and applauding. That's the same thing. That's repetitive. Pete Weber goes, "That's right. We did it." Oh, the person, we did it right. And then the camera pans to what I would assume is his wife in the crowd, just euphoric. That's my man. Camera goes back to Pete. This is the infamous one. He says, "Who do you think you are?" "I am." And it's the best 13 to 20 seconds of sports legitimately in my life. I don't say that facetiously. No clip gets me this fired up. And maybe it's because my dad is an amazing bowler. He was in a league in New York City back in the day. Maybe it's my pseudo roots to bowling, even though I'm nowhere near the bowler he is. Maybe it's just Pete's aura. Maybe it's the confidence. I would love to see him pop up in a wrestling ring at some point. Mike Steph, Pete Weber, US Open 2012. Do you remember this clip?
I remember Pete Weber. The clip, he's infamous for having various clips, just for the fact of how demonstrative he was during his victory. So I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to pull no wool over your eyes and say I remember exactly this clip, but Pete Weber is infamous for his celebration. So I remember he actually brings the spotlight to bowling. So anything Pete Weber related always pops me.
I love that. Yeah, you said it perfectly. He's known for being demonstrative. He's a character, even kind of giving heel vibes for being so flamboyant.
Didn't he do a DX on one time?
Yes, that's right. The crotch chop.
Huh? Yeah.
He's done the crotch chop in the past.
So that's why I said I remember Pete Weber. When I was looking at the count, the rundown, I was like, Pete Weber. I'm like, are they talking about the bowling Pete Weber? And darn sure y'all are. I'm like, wow. Listen, I consider myself to be a decent bowler. I'm very competitive with the bumper guards. Without the bumper guards, I'm Mr. Gutterball. But put the bumper guards in, I'm unstoppable.
I love that for you. I used to. No. I mess with both. I mess with bumpers. I haven't done bumpers in a minute. My game has improved. But get it how you live. Get it how you live, bro. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah. Listen, I felt that shade from all the way down.
Yeah, that's a little bit of shade. Yeah. That's a little bit. Get it how you live. But
yeah, get how you live. I like that for you. Yeah. Okay. Great. That's great.
You know how to read me by this point. Why am I? We know each other too well.
Listen. It's
been 3 years. You said 3 years. Since
3 years to end of this month. 3 years to end of this month. The lead up to WrestleMania 38. Actually, the lead up to the re-debut of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who I'm quite sure we'll talk about later on this episode.
I heard WrestleMania. I heard Cody Rhodes. That is the perfect transition into Elimination Chamber talk, and what an Elimination Chamber it was. Before we get there, a word from our sponsor.
Basketball season is heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed when you use the promo code CLNS. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts and is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Prize Picks is truly the best way to win real money with all the various opportunities to play and collect your winnings. Due to the enormous selection of players and stat types available, we can mix and match our playing strategies based on personal preferences. I might take Cade Cunningham for more than 7 assists. Tyler might take Kevin Durant for more than 27 points. Do you think Steph Curry will get more than 5 3-pointers next week? Giannis for more than 35 points. Me for 5 hours of sleep. Okay, maybe that's not part of Prize Picks, but cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. And for those who love a quick win, Prize Picks is the way to go. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Remember, with Prize Picks, it's as simple as picking more or picking less. Again, that's promo code CLNS to get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. Gimmick Infringement is rocking with Prize Picks. You should too. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, Mike, let's get into it. WWE talk. I must begin with a quick Steph watch. And not Mike Steph, actually. My second favorite Steph. That's Stephanie Vaquer. It was a big week for our NXT North American Women's Champ. She successfully defended her title against Carmen Petrovic, and it's official. Stephanie Vaquer is challenging Giulia in a title-for-title match at Roadblock in NYC. Mike, it's no secret my love for Stephanie Vaquer since seeing her at Forbidden Door last summer. The NXT crowd has really taken to her. She's hit with the crowd in a way that has even surpassed my wildest expectations. I'm so happy for her. I'm such a big fan. And I think she's going to take down Giulia in the Big Apple. I think she's leaving as champ.
That's interesting.
Mike, don't. Okay, I'm calling you out. That's interesting. Don't bring that negativity here. This is Stephanie Vaquer fans only.
Listen,
in the ring, on Instagram, she's winning.
Don't jump me.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness, the hostility. You know, I mean, I know I'm not a guest in the home anymore. You know, I'm pretty much a third of y'all. You know, I just only pop up. Matter of fact, it's been a year since I've been here. What's up with that? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But no, in all honesty, it would not surprise me if Stephanie ends up the champion. I just don't believe it's going to happen at Roadblock. Personally, I really think it's probably very surprising to the people behind the scenes that Stephanie has gotten over more than Giulia. Like you said, you can feel the groundswell. So in a roundabout way, if you really thought about it, I mean, if you really think about it, the position should be reversed. Giulia should be the North American champion,
no doubt,
and Stephanie has the backing and support of the NXT faithful to be the champion. But things are however they may. But I don't believe it's going to happen at Roadblock. Something about these title for title things. I think something is going to happen during that match to prolong that showdown to stand and deliver. You're not going to have something as monumental as a title for title match with the actual winner less than a month before stand and deliver. I'm sorry.
Match.
It's not going to happen.
I think it's the main event of Roadblock. If it comes on first, I think your prediction might be true, Mike. That something Fugazi is going to happen. Because to me, and Roadblock is a loaded card already. You got Fraxian versus the Hardys. You got Moose versus Obafemi. But Stephanie Vaquer versus Giulia is in another stratosphere. That is the biggest match on the show.
Yes, but I'm also looking at the aspect that yes, it's a event. You know, Roadblock is an event, but it's also still it's not a PLE. It's CW. Yeah, they're going to be at the theater of Madison Square Garden, which can hold up to 10,000. I really was contemplating on going, and I'm not going to lie. When I looked at the prices, and I'm like, if this was a PLE, I would swallow hard and say, you know what, me and Main Event K, yeah, we're gonna go and see Giulia versus Stephanie. But for a CW event, a TV event, and they're talking about nosebleeds like $200 for not even the Garden, but for the theater. I'm sorry, I gotta pass. But like I said, I say all that to say, if this was a PLE, I could truthfully say, yeah, there's going to be a definite winner. There's going to be some type of shenanigans. Jordan Grace is going to get involved somehow, some way, and that's going to lead to stand and deliver. That's my thought.
It's a phenomenal call. Jordan Grace is in the periphery and is likely going to challenge one of them or both of them as stand and deliver. Okay, Mike, Elimination Chamber. I'm taking credit for two things on this episode. Number one, Steph Vaquer being a face of NXT. I called that before. The minute she signed with WWE, I correctly predicted that. I also correctly, and I want to make sure George Romero and Brad Winchester are hearing this. I'm spicy today, by the way. I don't know what that is. I also correctly predicted that Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, was going to win the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Mike, let's start there at the beginning of this show. Okay. Bianca Belair wins, but that might not even be the biggest headline from this match, respectfully. To open the match, Jade Cargill returns and attacks Naomi, beats the brakes off the founder of Glow. Well, Glow, WWE context, great entrance. Okay, Mike, this match, standout performances. I thought the match was fantastic. Great look for Roxanne. We shouldn't be surprised. She's the prodigy for a reason. Liv Morgan, her star over the last year, completely catapulted. Alexa Bliss, so happy she's back. This match, it was giving everything we needed for the opener. What do you think about where we're at now? Bianca Belair presumably challenging. I know we get Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky on Raw. I'm presuming Rhea is remaining champ. So either Rhea versus Bianca or Triple Threat Jones, easy for me to say, at Mania. We got Jade attacking Naomi. Is Bianca in cahoots with Naomi? We can assume Naomi attacked Jade. There's a lot to process from the opener of Elimination Chamber. Where do you want to start, Mike Steph?
Okay. First and foremost, I'll start with Jade. Her coming to the ring, the amount of aggression that she showed, but more importantly, since her debut, and I'm not talking about debut even in WWE, just since her overall debut, you could kind of tell that she had potential, but she was also thinking, all right, instead of just acting, it was when she hit that ring and when she got on Naomi's, you know what, it was go time. It was go time from the whole thing, and it just looked so fluid. And I'm like, okay, I think we got something here right now. Yes, whatever happened, whatever reason why she took time off or why she took time off, she kind of rounded out the rough edges, and even to me, she even looked more streamlined than she did before.
It was different.
Maybe it was just me. Different. It's just like she looked a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah. And the crowd ate it up. It was like, oh, we're not messing around. We're going right to it.
Yeah, so that probably helps with the fluidity of it also. But not only that, Bianca's expression, because like I was, of course, I was watching it on like an hour and a half delay. So I made sure I put do not disturb on my phone, so I didn't get no notification, I didn't get no spoilers or whatever. So after I, got the whole show and processed it, I started going on social media, and there was people that was putting up little clips that Naomi, when she saw Jay coming, she looked at Bianca like Bianca didn't have a tell, but Naomi looking back at Bianca was almost like, oh, she knows. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with you.
Bianca
has a hand in this.
Bianca, to her credit, the way she acted inside the chamber when she was locked in the chamber, she seemed stunned, but was she really? Like you said, I think she's in cahoots with Naomi. Tell you the truth, she might have been the mastermind, because her out is, I was in the ring when you got attacked. But at the same time, why would Naomi be the mastermind? Bianca would be the mastermind. But also this, and this is like just putting together the pieces. Now it's for WrestleMania, it's going to be Bianca versus Rhea, correct? Yeah. Right. Well, Bianca versus Rhea or Io Sky. Okay, fine. Two things. One, if it's Bianca versus Rhea in this current iteration, you have face versus face. That's not going to happen. Second, even if you go to a triple threat, you're going to have face versus face versus face. Who's the variable that can turn heel? You're not turning Io heel. You're not turning Rhea heel. And with everything that's going on, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how they play it, Bianca's going to be the heel. So it sets up Bianca's the heel, and she has Jade after Mania. Jade's going to take care of Naomi, and then after Mania, Jade is sitting there for Bianca. But there's one big question, but I will refrain from asking that question until I throw it back over to you.
Yeah, I agree with with a lot of your takes, Mike. To me, what this is setting up, just based off what we saw of Elimination Chamber, just based on my raw emotions, is that Bianca is going to face Jade. We're going to get that dream match at SummerSlam. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be for the title. I don't think Bianca's winning at WrestleMania. And I don't know that Bianca versus Jade needs a title. It's such a huge match. It's going to be on the poster of whatever show it occurs at. To me, it's given this is going to happen at SummerSlam. And the title probably won't be a part of it. Now, the build to Rhea versus Bianca, assuming that's the match, or like you said, at the very least, triple threat. We know Rhea's going to be a part of this one way or the other. I just hope the feud with Jade doesn't cloud the build to this title match, because I think both of those separately are their own storyline. So I'm really eager to see how they maneuver through that. I'm eager to see if Naomi is still alive after she got stretchered out. I don't know. It's been a great career for Naomi. Hopefully I could easily see Jade versus Naomi ideally being a WrestleMania match. If not, maybe a marquee match on the SmackDown or Raw leading into Mania. I'm eager to see heel Naomi and what this looks like, although I don't think we're going to see her for several weeks given the how legit that attack was. But yeah, I think this is setting up Jade versus Bianca. Obviously, to me, it's going to be SummerSlam and probably not for a title. I don't see Rhea Ripley, especially coming off of the storyline from Elimination Chamber. I don't see Rhea Ripley losing that title in Vegas.
Well, you actually just answered the question that I was going to have. I think I'm getting deja vu from Brad last week of, and I don't even have no notes with questions down, but I think somehow, some way, you got some ESP and you're going into my head and doing some old manifesto or something. But regardless, I was going to ask you, do you believe that they're going to, because there's a little known streak that's actually happening, and that's Bianca's undefeated WrestleMania streak. Do you believe that they're going to have Rhea be the one to put the end to that streak? You've already answered yes, but I'll give you another chance to reconsider your answer based on the fact of the magnitude of Bianca's WrestleMania undefeated streak.
When anyone challenges my Stephanie Vaquer takes, I have to deliver my response in such an eloquent, respectful manner like you just did for me with the EST. So I thank you for your grace, Mike Steph. I forgot about the Bianca WrestleMania streak. Yeah, I'm wrong. Bianca wins at Mania. She becomes champ. And then Jade versus Bianca is for the title at SummerSlam. Let's do it. I don't think it's needed whatsoever. The title is not needed for that rivalry. But I would love to see Bianca's WrestleMania streak intact. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that's more of a fan, fans, we are keeping tabs of that. I don't know that it's been outwardly consistently discussed on TV, unless I've missed it. Has it been a thing that's been outwardly discussed on air?
Bianca has brought it up herself.
On the program.
Yeah, like that, like
wow,
the post show yesterday.
Yeah. Right, with Big E and
yeah, did you watch her interview on the post show?
I did, with the white coat, and I may have missed she brought it up. They asked her the streak, right?
Yeah, she said,
okay.
Yeah, listen, what's going on?
Okay.
I have I'm streak at WrestleMania, and I'm eager to continue that streak, and prove to everybody that I am the BEST.
Do you think they're going to keep it alive?
You're asking for me to go down a road that I'm trying not to go down. But I personally think with the chief creative officer, no, they're going to put it into that streak because they can only be one. I swear, it's almost like Rhea is going to be Highlander. They can only be one. and just the way they've been positioned in the last year and a half, I could see them putting it into that streak. I just don't see them. I could see them using Bianca as another notch on Rhea's belt.
Right.
Unfortunately,
it feels like Rhea just got that title as well. It feels like she just beat Liv Morgan
But the
a
only
month
reason she
ago.
got it is because the only reason she didn't have it the
She was
whole
injured.
time and she had to regain it because she was hurt. Not
Right.
once, but twice.
Yeah, she's a big star.
You know,
As is Bianca Belair.
you have her beat. You have her beat. Well, a matter of fact, I'll say this more in kayfabe terms. She's beaten Charlotte on the grand stage at 39. She beat Becky last year on the grand stage at 40. Another notch on her belt was to beat the unbeaten EST at WrestleMania. And you have Jade looming of, yeah, you did all this and you thought you're going to get that title. Guess what? You don't got that title. Now you got to deal with me.
Right. Maybe there's some Jade interference in that potential match. So it's okay. Bianca lost at Mania, but
Or maybe
Jade interfered and made that happen.
Or maybe it comes to a crescendo at WrestleMania of Jade actually lets everybody know Bianca was in cahoots. Maybe
Right.
it's always
Right.
in the lead up. It's like, all right, did she, or is it, or the focus is just on Naomi, and then at WrestleMania, no, listen, I knew with you. You had something to do with it too.
Roll the footage.
And that's the impetus for
Bianca's calling plays. She orchestrated all this because I was stealing her shine.
I'm sure. Plus, I mean, listen, they got her man got to be simpatico. The street profits are leaning a certain way.
That's true. Your profits. We love the profits here.
I'm just saying.
All right, Mike. So let's look at the rest of the card, and I'm going to quickly mention the two next matches, and then we're really going to get to why I think everyone tuned in today. I love this tag match in terms of what its purpose on this card. Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus defeated Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. You have this incredible pairing of Trish and Tiffany, Hall of Famer with the current women's champ. Obviously, there have been Trish Stratus comparisons since Tiffany, left NXT to come to the main roster. That was really cool. That was a moment. I didn't think we were going to see them pair so quickly, but it makes sense. You bring back the Hall of Famer in her city of Toronto. Tiffany is on the rise. I think this was a great addition to the card and was completely harmless. Now, what's not harmless, Nia Jax being pinned. I don't know why that needed to happen. I definitely thought Candice LeRae was in the match to receive the PME, and then 1, 2, 3, it's a wrap. I love seeing Trish. I will never complain about a Trish match. At this stage in her career, she is amazing and not only a childhood crush of mine, but by all intents and purposes, seems like just a solid person who has done things the right way. And I'm just glad she's still healthy and she's getting her flowers to this day. Again, Tiffany Stratton's on the rise. This match served its purpose. I thought it was a great addition to the card, frankly. And then speaking of another addition, which I was not as sold on heading into the show, also two hometown heroes, the dastardly Kevin Owens versus the underdog from the underground, Sami Zayn, in the unsanctioned match. This was brutal, Mike. I should have never doubted these guys, although I don't necessarily have a penchant to see these two have another rivalry. They've kind of already been there and done that. They're two of the best wrestlers in the company and in the world for a reason. They put together just a vicious personal grudge match. Of course, Kevin Owens wins. That was definitely the right call. And then we get the surprise of Randy Orton coming back, RKOing Kevin Owens. And then before he can punt, security finally breaks it up. And I would presume we'll get that match announced for Mania at some point. Orton versus Owens. Again, hopefully Sami Zayn, like Naomi, is still alive and we get to see him in the ring at some point. There were a lot of vicious beatdowns, actually. Elimination Chamber was a pretty vicious show, come to think of it. I was really happy with these two matches. Top to bottom, I thought this card did its thing. Granted, it was almost a 4-hour experience for only 4 matches, which is kind of wild to think about. I saw a lot of advertisements. I'm on the basic package of Peacock, but that's a conversation for another day. Get it how you live. These two matches, very good. Perfect, not filler, but perfect to be sandwiched in between the women's chamber and the men's chamber. I was really cool with both of them. What say you?
Okay. I'll start with the tag match first because I have the least amount of thoughts about that one. I do agree with you with Trish Stratus. I get it. your hometown hero, 25th anniversary, bring him in.
years.
But I could have did without the match. Personally, I know they're trying to give Tiffany the rub, but I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of nauseating. Tiffany and Trishy, I'm like, y'all trying too hard. Y'all trying too hard. I'm sorry.
You didn't get the shirt on shop?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You know the what they've done in the last month has actually actively made me turn against Tiffany Stratton, because she's a face with really no redeeming qualities whatsoever. I really believe they turned the way they turned her, if they turned her, was idiotic. You know, she's the face by default because she's going against Charlotte Flair, who's just like a natural heel. And I really believe the initial plan was for Tiffany to be the heel and Charlotte to be the returning face, and then for them to clash. And then when they got the feedback from the crowd of, what you want us to cheer for the 15th iteration of Charlotte Flair on our screen?
The fan said nah.
Yeah, you know, so then they had to like redo, like, all right, you know what, now we're gonna have to push Tiffany. Tiffany's never been a face. Everybody that they brought from NXT, before they brought him up, they've always been on both sides. That's the reason why they kept Braun Breaker down for an extra year, to allow him to be comfortable with his heel role. You bring Tiffany up with the same character as she has at NXT, the obnoxious heel that got over, and because she got over with the crowd, it's almost like, oh, she's a face. No. She's just over with the crowd. She does not need to be a face. Her character, there's nothing about her character that's face. This neither here nor there. Also, I believe the reason why Nia was the one to take the fall, because it goes back to the old trope. New boss, same rules. You have your new marquee face. They have to overcome the monster. Right now, Nia is the monster. Candice, yeah, everybody thought Candice was going to be there to take the fall. That was the quote unquote swerve. All right, well, Candice not taking the fall. Nia can afford to take that fall. Plus, it effectively ends their feud. Okay, I beat you for the title. Guess what? In the tag team match, I beat you 1, 2, 3. I'm finished with you. I have nothing else to say to you. I'm going over to Charlotte. Now, for the unsanctioned match, I'm not gonna lie, I was surprisingly emotional when it came to this match, just because, I mean, they've done battles throughout their career, and they chronicle it of how many times they've done battle. They've gone from best friends to to rivals to enemies to back to friends to partners and so forth. They've been in the WWE for 10 years now. But the way that they played this particular matchup was more pulling on the heartstrings to me. The one other thing I will say is, if you really look back at the history of them in WWE canon, going back to NXT, yesterday actually came completely full circle. When Kevin Owens debuted in NXT, was right after Sami Zayn finally got his long-awaited NXT title. Won the NXT title. And what did he do? He turned on him and he put him out with the apron powerbomb. What happened? He won the match and he put it with an exclamation point, and put Sami out with the buckle. I mean, with the apron powerbomb. So I don't think we're going to see Sami until either WrestleMania or post WrestleMania. I think that effectively wrote him off. Because remember, he came in still dealing with an injury. That's why it was unsanctioned. So for him that was the effective, all right, we're going to write him off. I don't know what's going on behind the scene, as if maybe he is a little hurt or banged up or whatever. Or maybe they just like, you know what? We're saving him for something and we don't want to blow our load right now. And we're going to just like let him simmer, bring Randy Orton in. They have the WrestleMania match and then Sami will return then. But yeah, that one that one was that was a classic to me. I really believe that out of all their encounters on the main roster, to me that was their best one.
It was very good. And to think, Sami Zayn and how he's positioned in the company now in 2025, it's so much different, right? Than when they were feuding in, when's the first time they feuded on the main roster, Mike? 2018, 2015 even?
Well, yeah, no. Matter of fact, 16.
On the main roster, 16, yeah.
16, yeah.
They're completely different. I mean, Kevin Owens was always presented as a guy, but Sami Zayn now, completely different character as presented, right? This guy, Sami Zayn, was facing Roman Reigns in the main event and was a viable challenger to become world champion. I would argue Kevin Owens is doing the best character work of his career. Of course, these guys would deliver. I don't know why I was expecting anything less. Mike, we have to get into the main event, which was really the segment following this match. But the men's Elimination Chamber, I'm going to skip to the finishing sequence here. Comes down to the final three: Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and you got the shirt, best in the world, and John Cena. Seth Rollins gets eliminated, and then before he exits the cage, the chamber, if you will, he proceeds to stomp. CM Punk was conveniently available next to the ropes. John Cena ends up putting CM Punk in the STF. CM Punk passes out. John Cena is your winner. And then we get the promised Rock versus Cody in ring segment. John Cena still in the ring celebrating his victory. Cody's music hits, comes out wearing the black, by the way. That was, hey, what's Cody going to do? He had the black vest, he had the black pants. And then we get the final boss, accompanied by Travis Scott. Oh, I saw that reaction. I can't wait for your thoughts. So we got these four guys in the ring, and Rock says, okay, we're here. We made it to Toronto. You know what I'm here for. I need your answer. I want your soul, or the dream dies. The dream dies again. Rock, how do you think you're going to get a yes from this guy when you're taking such personal shots? So Cody really plays it up. I want it all. And by all, I mean, I want the fan support. I want to give everything I got for this title. I am basically I'm a people's champion. And by the way, go F yourself, Rock. Huge reaction. One of the biggest reactions to Cody as champion. Big moment. John Cena's loving it in the background of the shot. Travis Scott has his sage that he's just, spraying everywhere. And then Mike Steph, The Rock, takes time before he responds. And I'll save the dialogue. I'm sure by now folks have already watched and seen this clip. I'm sure there's millions of views on YouTube. Cody Rhodes and John Cena acknowledge we are facing each other at WrestleMania for this title. Put it here. Let's shake hands. Let's embrace. And then the shot, Mike Steph. John Cena's disposition completely changes from fun-loving, big match John, the last time is now, Mr. Jorts. He and The Rock lock eyes. The Rock gives the throat slash instructions. John Cena's face completely shifts, deadpan. Then he proceeds to low blow Cody Rhodes. And then the beatdown of the night ensues. We saw what happened in Naomi. We saw Sami Zayn. But this is the beatdown everyone's talking about. The Rock, heel John Cena, and even Travis Scott get their licks in on Cody Rhodes. They use Cody's gold Rolex. They use the weight belt that The Rock brought. This is the new authority heel faction. This pay-per-view, this premium live event, I should say, it was teased that it was in the image of The Rock, John Cena, Travis Scott, all popping up in Toronto. It was foreshadowing for this moment. Mike Steph, John Cena has turned heel. We haven't even seen a glimmer of this since all the way back to his Doctor of Thugonomics days, but this appears to be a very different heel iteration of John Cena. What do you make of John Cena winning the Elimination Chamber and then selling his soul to The Rock ahead of WrestleMania?
Okay. The ending sequence of the match because as you can see, I'm wearing who I wanted to win on my chest, literally. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't believe. Matter of fact, I talked myself out of Cena being even an option because I'm like, last year they're doing the retirement run. Are they really gonna turn him heel? Nah. Matter of fact, shoot, CM Punk might be the corporate champion. He might be the corporate choice.
It was gonna be one of those two winning this match and turning heel.
Yeah,
we love Drew. We love Damian Priest, Logan Paul. He was in the match.
Yeah.
And we got Seth Rollins. But really, Mike, we knew it was either Punk or it was Cena. But you thought it was going to be CM Punk.
I was like, you know what? I could see them having Punk because he's so desperate to get into the main event that, you know, I mean, going back to his first promo when he returned, he's like, look, I'm not back to make friends. I'm here to make money. So I'm like, you know, being the fact they've been foreshadowing it, I'm like, I don't think they're going to go back then because they didn't know exactly what they're going to do back then. But they could have used that as, well, he told y'all when he came back what he's about, you know, almost 2 years ago. But it was right in front of our face at the time, like you said, with the posters. You can even go back to the Royal Rumble post-Royal Rumble conference where Cena inserted himself in the Royal Rumble, I mean in the chamber without qualifying, from him not appearing at all in the lead up due to his movie responsibilities, which they actually, I believe once or twice they actually said, yeah. Or matter of fact, he might have said, yeah, I'm going to film a movie, but I'll be back for I'll be back for the chamber. Also, throughout the match, there was little glimpses of this is not the same John Cena that everybody's accustomed to. This is not the hustle, loyalty, respect John Cena that everybody's accustomed to. His willingness to go 2-on-1 against Seth when it was down to the 3 and him and Punk looked, and when has Cena ever said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to join with you to beat up this one guy? Never. You know, then, like you said, he took advantage of Seth's interference at the time because he already been eliminated. And it's not like he went and said, you know what, I'm going to do a couple more moves to Punk and I'm going to put him away. No, he literally, from the start, put him in his hold, which is a formality. He was already knocked out. And then he gave him an extra little choke. And I'm like, that's mother, you know what?
He said, I got a flight to catch. I gotta make this quick. I gotta get out of here.
You know, so and then from, like you said, then for him staying in for Cody's response, I really was shocked. I liken this to, and I know which guy everybody's been doing this, but so what? I liken this to Hulk Hogan's turn because Hulk Hogan was pretty much a face for. Matter of fact, Hulk Hogan was a face for 12 years, 13 years at the time of his turn. Cena was a face for matter of fact, for 20 years, consistently before this turn, his last year. This also is a little bit akin to Stone Cold's turn because not so much of the fact that he was such a tried and true babyface, because Stone Cold always had shades of gray. He was like, look, all right, y'all cheer me, that's on y'all. I'm doing what I need to do. But when it comes down to, John Cena didn't sell his soul for the fame, for the fortune, for the money, for the notoriety. He's quote unquote, sold his soul for one thing: immortality, for number 17. For number 17. He tried to do it the correct way in the Royal Rumble. He came up short. That look, when he got knocked off the apron, go back to that look. That look was like, okay, you know what? This idea was broached to me. I tried to do it my way. Guess what? Gonna have to do it the other way. Same thing Stone Cold did. Stone Cold tried until he got to WrestleMania. And when Vince McMahon gave him that chair, he said, you know what? Damn right, I'm going to use this chair. And I'm going to beat the hell out The Rock. And The Rock is no stranger to selling out, because The Rock sold out years ago. The Rock is the original corporate champion.
That is.
So everything goes full circle, around and around, 360 degrees.
And that's what WWE is really benefiting off of, is they have this rich history and they have so many familiar faces still in the fold. Again, whether that be Trish Stratus, The Rock, they have CM Punk now, they have John Cena in his last year. That is a benefit that they have. They have this rich history and they have this fan investment in these characters, and the storylines are really benefiting from that. You're absolutely correct in there, Mike. And I want to make sure we give a shout out to some of our audience here who also have thoughts just like you do, Mike. I want to start with, first shout out to Joel at No Average Joel, former GI guest. He tweeted, "We winning." This was in response to, what did Joel say this to? This is in response to the agenda of Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair being a WrestleMania match. Shout out to you, Joel. We have a Mike Steffens _ from Brooklyn. Oh wait, who's that? That's Mike Steph here. You already heard the great thoughts from Mike. Finally, Warren Shaw of 19 Media. Shout out, Warren. Thank you for your thoughts, sir. He wrote, "All I heard was John Cena turned heel, and it was wild." And he said he's looking forward to our recap. Hope you're enjoying the recap, Warren. Warren Shaw, you're absolutely right. It was very wild. It was a moment. I mean, CM Punk turning heel, to your point, Mike, that of course would have been a big deal. And I think it's still going to happen at some point. And it's going to be a moment. But we've seen CM Punk as a heel, not in the not too distant past. Like you said, John Cena turning heel. I have people, Mike, who don't even watch wrestling on the regular who have reached out to me. I guarantee it's going to come up at school this week. Someone who isn't even a day-to-day wrestling fan is going to mention, "Yo, I saw John Cena is a bad guy now." You know, that's the reach that this decision is having. And then finally, friend of the show, former guest, George Romero, big up to G. Just last week, actually, we had George on. He wrote, "Definitely different," referring to the ending of the show and the heel turn. "Doesn't this make Cena look like a pawn, though?" George asks. What say you, Mike?
Oh, that's a good question.
By the way, George is at Niners with a Z 94. Warren Shaw at Shaw Sports NBA.
No. The reason I say no is because out of everybody that would have been an option or potential option, Cena is the only one who has the cachet that he can actually be on an equal level as the Rock. As in, okay, you're on the board of directors, you have the power, or pretty much you're in charge right now. Quote unquote, behind the scenes for 20 years, I had to run this place. The person who I had to run this place with is no longer here. But at the same time, me and you have had battles. You know how I get down. I know how you get down. We hobnob with the same people in Hollywood. I don't really need anything from you, but the opportunity, or should I say, the deck stat to get my name in immortality, number 17. So no, I don't think he's going to be used as. I don't think he can be looked at as a pawn. I think he can be looked at as an equal partner, just in a different way.
Final question for you: who wins, Travis Scott versus Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny.
I agree.
Bad Bunny.
Travis Scott allegedly, reportedly, he's finna take some bumps in the ring. He's been training. That's according to a Fightful Select report.
Listen, I have one other thing to say about Travis Scott. And I'll keep it PG. To me, there's no way. I get, like I said, like we said offline, I get why he was such an integral part of the angle to bring the mainstream press, to bring the celebrity, what have you. Listen, I'm 48 going on 49. He's not my demographic. I really could care less. You know, this would be, I was telling my son the other last night, this would be akin to when Hulk turned in 96 for them to have maybe not as big, but as for them to have Tupac in the ring at the same time.
Wow.
I mean, because like I said, as in for mainstream notoriety of a rapper, you know, I won't say Biggie. Well, in fact, I could say Biggie also, but
No, Travis,
in that realm.
To your point, Mike, Travis Scott, I feel this. I feel the same way you do. I don't think I'm his target demo either. But I know a lot of people, many of whom are much younger than me, who love them some Travis Scott. They go to Astroworld, they've been to the concerts, and he is one of their favorite artists. I don't get it. I don't have any of his songs on my playlist, but his reach is undeniable.
Yeah, I just feel like for such a historic event, something that you can look back on in the annals of wrestling history, wrestling lore, and just like 30 years ago, going on 30 years, you can look at Bash in the Beach and you have Hall, Nash, Hogan, Savage. You're going to look back and you're going to say, okay, we got The Rock, we got Cena, we got Cody, and we got Travis Scott. Really? Really?
Mike
Blowing sage?
The sage popped me actually.
One last thing.
I was okay.
One last thing, because I don't want to overdo it, but one last thing. Did technically Travis Scott turn heel also yesterday?
Oh, he's been heel.
No. The reason I asked that
Was that rhetorical?
Didn't he just come down the aisle with Jey Uso during his performance? I mean, during his entrance. I believe maybe it was the Netflix premiere, and he was blowing some sage at that time, but he was a face. So technically, Travis Scott turned heel last night too. So you had two heel turns, John Cena and Travis Scott, and that's what you want in wrestling history. Okay, all right, I got you.
Well said. Mike, we promised it. It is time to deliver. We saw lots of action at Elimination Chamber. There's also been action at the gym, specifically in Brooklyn. Yeah, that's right. Trap Tales is going to the East Coast. It's time to hear what you've been up to, Mike. Let's get into it. Okay, Mike, here we go. I've been updated on your Trap Tales visits. I know you and I have said corresponding videos to each other about really this. Long-time listeners know, new-time listeners may not. This segment is dedicated to the experience of visiting your local gym or fitness center and all that comes with that. The people that you meet, the experiences you have. Mike, I'm going to kick it off to you. What's your Trap Tales update, Brooklyn edition?
Okay, this week, because I've recently gotten into going to the gym with my daughter, the lovely Mia, because she has a membership of Planet Fitness and she has the black card, so I would go as a guest. Now, this week I decided, I was like, you know what? I've actually enjoyed the gym experience so much. Guess what? I'm going to become a member myself, so I can go the times that my daughter's not able to go. So I signed up. You know, they had $1 entry fee. I was like, you know what? If this is the time, let me get it right now. So I got it, right? So this morning, after I took care of some business, I said, you know what? I'm going to go, instead of going on my 4-mile walk, I'm going to walk to the gym and do some things, right? So my daughter, matter of fact, if you want to come, my daughter tells me she's very upset at me for going to the gym without her. Question: Can she have a never mind. So anyway, so she got upset that I didn't alert her to go to the gym this week.
Okay. Yeah.
But regardless, it was a miscommunication, right?
That's also a whole different experience when you're going to the gym with someone. That's not an experience I've had a lot of history with. I used to go with my mom back in the day, but you going with your daughter, that presents some additional opportunities for joy, but also some complexities of, okay, when do we go? Do I meet you there? But basically, like she got you into Planet Fitness, and now you're acting brand new and you're too good to go with me. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. That's how she interpreted it to me. Like,
Heel turn.
Not only are you going without me, you're going to the gym that I introduced you to.
Heel turn. What? That's the third or fourth heel turn on this episode.
I guess it's the third. Yeah, I guess you could say third.
As you were.
Long story short, so I walked there, and I'm especially on the treadmill. Like that's my thing. I'm not really in for weight training, for strength training. I'm strictly for endurance. I want to be known as the 60-minute man because I used to go on a treadmill for 60 minutes. So
Iron Man Jones.
Yeah, Iron Man. So I'm doing the treadmill, and now this week I actually made a WWE playlist because I noticed when I listen to interest themes, it gets me amped. So yes, I was doing the yeet, I was doing the ones, I was doing everything, right? So I'm on the treadmill, and I started this week saying, you know what, I'm not going to go at one particular pace. I'm going to fluctuate. I'm going to go up and down. So I warmed up, got to 4 miles an hour. Then I went up to 5. Then I did a little jog and everything. And then depending on the song, that depended on what kind of pace I was going on. So when Becky Lynch, I'm running to the beat and everything. So that was 60 minutes. But here's where the problem started. Because I knew I was going to attend here, so I went to make sure I got my fitness in, but made sure I was home in time to prep. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do about 15-20 minutes over in the exercise area, in the equipment area, which I'm not really well versed at. So I like the leg press, so I did the leg press. I did maybe like five sets of 10 at 180, which wasn't bad. I got strong thighs like Saquon Barkley. So I did 5 sets of 10 at 180. And then here's where I messed up. Instead of just chalking it up and saying, you know what, good workout, let me go, I said, no, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go hard to go home. Well, go hard before I go home. I went to the chest press. Now, I go through acupuncture every week. And last week, because I did a lot of exercising on my week off, my week vacation with my wife, I have a pinched nerve in my neck. So sometimes it gets irritated. So I told the acupuncturist, I'm like, you know what, let's concentrate on my neck because I got like a little crook here. And he did it and I was pain free. So why did I just kind of aggravate that nerve in my neck by doing the chest press? Because I thought I was the second coming of the second coming of Big E. Yes, Big E. And I figured I could really push some weight around, and, which going to show everybody, meat, and start doing my little press. And I went from 120 to like, oh, nope, to 80. Oh, nope, to 60. Okay, 60. Yeah, I could do 60. But I think the 180 and the 120 just like really just messed up my neck. So there would be no more chest press. There would be no more. It will only be nothing but legs. It'll be legs week the whole. Every time I go, it just be legs. Cause I'm about a long time, not a good time. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know, but you get the gist.
I do. And leg day to me always feels much less high risk than any other body part. You mentioned chest day or all the other body parts, Mike. Leg day to me just feels like, you know what, this is good. I got this. I can push myself, but I know I'm also not going to risk injury. There's something about it that is kind of comforting versus chest press and maybe other parts of the gym that you can attempt to spend some time at.
Yeah, people
knowing your limitations though. This is healthy.
See, that's when my daughter comes in play, because she's told me both to my face, both on over the phone, whatever. She's like, Dad, when I see you on the treadmill, I feel at ease. I feel at peace. Okay, Dad's on the treadmill, not a problem. When I see you going over to the sit-up area, or do I see you going over to leg press?
But I see you go to lab pull down. I get a little. My heartbeat starts to.
That's the one I really should have wanted to. I really wanted to do, but it was full. Because I wanted something with my arms. The press I probably shouldn't have did, but she said anytime she sees me with any equipment, let's just put it that way, her heart goes a flutter, because she's like, oh my God, my dad, he got a bad neck, he has a bad back, and he's old. And I'm like, wow, did you really have to say old? She's like, no, I'm just worried about you. I'm like,
Mia.
Yeah, but old people need love too.
Old people, that's crazy. Old people need fitness too.
Yeah. Shoot.
Well, Mike, speaking of extremely fit people, AEW. Big weekend ahead for All Elite Wrestling. It is Revolution. Historically, you could argue Revolution is the best pay-per-view year in and year out that a company known for their pay-per-views, I should say. This card looks incredibly strong. Mike, I have a few questions for you about where we're at with AEW and certainly the big show in LA. Number one, and this was not my original thought, this is all over social media, AEW has the opportunity to do something magnificent. Drake was in attendance at Elimination Chamber. This really is the epitome of Drake's downfall at the moment. WWE did not even mention it. And your man's was literally behind the commentary team. No outwardly... Mike, they promoted Nav, but no promotion of Drake. Are we gonna see Kendrick Lamar pop up at Crypto this weekend at AEW?
I mean, perhaps, but what I did notice on social media, Ice Cube's son, I don't know why I'm blanking. O'Shea Jackson Jr. Somebody mentioned it to him, and he was like, "Listen, I was at attendance the whole time from after I appeared in Straight Outta Compton." And they asked, is it okay for us to put you on TV? So he might have been asked and said, nah, I'm playing low key. And that's why they didn't do it. So, but it does explain why during the chamber, remember when I think Pat McAfee said that Logan Paul was like writing or pretty much putting in writing
OVO. You saw that, right?
And yeah. So that explains why it was almost like
Logan
that
Paul
was the
honorary member.
That was the Easter egg of letting them know, like, yo, he's in attendance without letting us know he's in attendance.
Yeah. What a fascinating position he's at in his career right now. Anyway, Kendrick, maybe at Revolution, maybe not. We shall see. But speaking of AEW, so Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia was great until Shane Taylor Promotions interfered. Queen Aminata, all caps in my notes, picked up a big win in her rematch with Giulia Hart. So we have Steph watch. Maybe it's time for an Aminata watch segment in the future. I'll need to think about that. And Mike, Powerhouse Hobbs had an epic homecoming back to the Bay. All of these notes are from Collision. There was a really, really strong Dynamite, and we saw the Revolution card take its full shape. I want to ask you first, because it's like you said, it's been a while since we've had you on, about 3 acts in the company and kind of get a temperature check for where you're at on them and their current storylines and their current position in the company. First, your AEW Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate. Speaking of your gym playlist, we heard people. I just wanted to ask you so we could get that. Make sure we clip that, please. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP revitalizing, dare I say, the tag division right now, restoring the feeling. What are your thoughts on the Hurt Syndicate and All Elite Wrestling? They're facing the Outrunners this weekend, by the way, so they will still be champions this time next week.
I love the fact that they're being featured. They're being appreciated for their current situation, because evidently, WWE had no need for them or felt like they had no need for them. So I'm glad, because last week's been showed that he still has gas in the tank, and Shelton's been throwing out, so I appreciate that. But I will say this is one of my ongoing critiques with AEW, when they should have really put the Rockets behind the Outrunners. They didn't. And now you're using the Outrunners to put the Hurt business over. I mean, the Hurt Syndicate over. Great. But does anybody really want to see that match? And aren't you kind of splitting the crowd between the people that was really looking for the Outrunners to get this opportunity months ago, to now you're brand new tag team champions that has gotten a groundswell of support of, we're trying to keep them heel, but probably not going to be able to keep that way that long. Why couldn't you just have them against the Murder Machines? It's the pay-per-view. This doesn't even scream Dynamite. This doesn't even scream Collision. This screams Rampage.
Not the artist formerly known as Rampage. It's a curious decision for the Outrunners to skirt with the win against the Murder Machines. I wonder where this conversation is going to be in a week, in 2 weeks, because I agree with you in the sense, Mike, that in terms of intrigue, if we look at the match card, again, this card is loaded. The Hurt Syndicate, one of the most over acts in the company. The match card, I think, is 9 or 10 deep right now. I think this is at the very bottom for most fans. We love the theme song. We love the Hurt Syndicate, but this match feels like, okay, this if this is longer than 5 minutes, that's too much. The Outrunners are not a serious threat to take down these guys. So I wonder what's going to become of this. Okay, my next one, Mike. Timeless Toni Storm. She's back with the timeless gimmick. The Hollywood ending is this Sunday against Mariah May. Where are you at with Toni Storm, and do you think she retains in this rubber match?
Oh, she retains. She retains. Actually, the question should be, where does Mariah May go after this loss? Because pretty much her whole career in AEW has been centered around Toni Storm, whether it was Timeless, whether it was Timeless's which were the disappearance, her reappearance, her amnesia angel, the whole nine. Everything has been revolved around Toni Storm. So once this rivalry is over, where does Mariah May go? What momentum she's going to have? And like, this goes back to the age-old problem, which I'm not gonna dwell on because we talked about it ad nauseum. Of you have two divisions and there's a glass ceiling or a glass wall between the divisions. If you're for the AEW World Championship, you don't have any interest in the TBS Championship. And if you're in the TBS division, you just don't even appear as a threat. You can
only challenge Mercedes. She also has a big match this weekend. I don't think there's any chance that Momo's defeating her. But yeah, it seems like TBS, and I think we even spoke about this the last time you were on, even. It seems like they're continue to be treated as just two separate divisions. And by the way, Willow Nightingale, I need her to have a championship this year. She took out Marina Shafir. Hopefully we get that one-on-one match. Willow Nightingale is plug and play. She's ready. The crowd is investment. Maybe that, check this out, a year later, Double or Nothing, 2025, Glendale, Arizona. Mercedes Moné, Willow Nightingale, the rematch. Willow dethrones Mercedes.
I would love that to happen. But to tell you the truth, you're wishing on a Willow Nightingale, Marina Shafir match. I'm not, because Willow ain't going over. As much as I would love it, there's just too much behind. There's too much steam behind the Death Riders for them to be on a one-on-one and have Willow beat them.
Okay. That was going to be my last question. Does this Sunday mark the end of the Death Riders? Is Jon Moxley losing to Adam Copeland?
No,
Cope,
because Cope is not the hope of AEW. Right now you have two contenders for to be the one to dethrone the king, the self-proclaimed king of AEW, the ace of AEW, and that's Kenny Omega. Whenever he gets finished with Takeshita, which
he's beaten Takeshita. He's beaten Takeshita this weekend.
So that keeps him in the division. Yeah. So therefore, Mox don't have to worry about him. So take him out the equation, and then you have Old Faithful, Hangman Adam Page. But how long is he going to be, feuding with MJF to even be able to attempt to go after to Mox? I believe
that's going to be a great match this weekend. I think Hangman's got to win that.
Based on the matches that's going on in Revolution, the next contender for Mox would be Swerve.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to ask you about Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland. So happy for Ricochet. Heel Ricochet leading into to be a corny. Yeah, thank you, Jadakiss. Thank you, Ricochet. I love that to me, it's been a big win, his signing. I love that he's been given the platform and the opportunity to, work on this new character. That being said, he's eating about 4 house calls on Sunday, and Swerve Strickland is going to win and become number 1 contender. That's exactly what I was going to ask you, Mike. I think 3 wrestlers are in position right now as being the front runners to possibly dethrone Mox and start the beginning of putting an end to the Death Riders. There's Cope. You said no for this Sunday. There's Swerve, who we can assume is going to beat Ricochet in the number 1 contenders match, and then challenge Mox at Double or Nothing in Glendale, Arizona. And then there's also
something in the middle, Dynasty.
This is true, and that's where he won a year ago. Great call. And then the third person I'm putting in this question, this is my last question for you, is Darby Allin. It seemed like originally this story, and maybe still is, should he survive Mount Everest, is going to lead to Darby Allin saving AEW and dethroning Mox, who he has a ton of history with. So if I were to tell you one of these 3 guys is going to dethrone Mox, who would you pick?
Darby.
How do you feel about that?
They just, by the time Darby is in position to challenge, the momentum is done. The momentum was toward the end of last year. The whole point of him getting squashed at Grand Slam and losing his contendership and then getting put out and so forth. He's supposed to be the Sting of AEW. And unfortunately, the Death Riders have not been able to maintain the momentum that they've had for Darby to be the avenging angel to come back and take back what's been captured from AEW. So by the time it happens, nobody's going to care. So, but it's going to be Darby. That's the reason why they're stretching out so long. So hopefully Darby can survive and come back and save the company.
That does seem to be the play. I forgot this time last year we were gearing up for Sting's retirement. Revolution last year was the Sting homage pay-per-view. Revolution has always been this really high point in the company. I wonder what we're going to get this Sunday. The card looks incredible, and I wonder, I mean, certainly you're going to hear it on GI, right? The fallout of Revolution, but there's a possibility for some big moments this weekend.
They got to do some. They have so many.
Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage? Yes, please.
Yeah, but that's a foregone conclusion. You know, Will Ospreay's going to
Ospreay.
It's the blow off.
Ospreay's getting that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's the one thing. It's like certain things you could just kind of look like. Yeah. Like, tell you the truth, they should have. Matter of fact, that's a competing sponsor, so I won't say anything. But they should have odds on that legally in at least in the state of New York, because I probably can finish paying off my cruise by
finally before we get out of here, Mike, on the AEW front, quick shout out to Clark Connors. He actually faced Swerve Strickland on Collision. I've seen Clark Connors at a local show. I didn't realize he's from Phoenix. And according to Fightful Select, he possibly is signing a deal with AEW, where it looks like all signs are pointing that way. So big ups to Clark Connors. Great showing against Swerve. Of course, he didn't win, but between him and Gabe Kidd, it seems like we're seeing more of an influx of talent from New Japan, who may be around for longer than expected with the company.
An influx of talent or a rating? I tend to lean on the
latter.
Yes.
Mike Steph, speaking of talent, speaking of possible epic moments, my favorite edition every season of The Bachelor is upon us. It is time to discuss, to preview, to predict hometowns. Let's talk.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
You know my love of the Bachelor franchise. Grant Ellis, second Black Bachelor ever, season 29. Mike, the season has completely flown by. We are already at Grant's final four. One of my original picks has made it. Zoe, we'll get into her in just a moment. Mike, I actually published my extensive thoughts on these four and what could be ahead if you visit gimmickinfringementpod.com. Check it out. Look at the writing section. My thoughts are there. Here's the final four, Mike. We have Latia, Giuliana, Zoe, and Dina. I'm completely bought in at this point because of what could be ahead. For example, hear me out, Mike Steph. Latia has been the front runner since really the beginning of the season. All signs point to she is going to be the person Grant proposes to. However, she recently revealed to Grant that she is LDS. She is Mormon. More power to her. That's amazing. Grant is not LDS. And apparently, according to their one-on-one date, doesn't know much about the LDS religion. It is my experience with a lot of religions, and particularly those of the LDS faith, that typically if you're in a marriage, both parties have to be a part of the church.
Even the yoke.
Yes, and I think at this point, I think as adults, it can be tough to embrace a new religion, specifically if it's under the auspices of you're in a relationship and maybe there's pressure to adopt that religion. Yeah. So the tease here, Mike, is although Latia has been the favorite, the vibes are great. This could be a reason for Grant maybe to look elsewhere. I don't see this brother moving to Salt Lake and becoming an LDS husband. I don't see that in his future. Latia seems dope. I still think she's going to win, but there's a legit possibility she doesn't. You'll see in my article, Giuliana, I would say, is the choice if it's not Latia. She has a proud Italian family. The preview here this week is that the dad and Grant are maybe not going to get into it, but apparently he says, hey, you kissed my daughter. I'm a proud Italian dad. You got to run these things by me. We'll see what happens. Giuliana could be a legit pick. And then we have Zoe, who is great, but I don't think she's going to be Grant's choice. She's from New York, actually. And then there's Dina, who snuck in as the underdog to the Final Four. I think she's gone after hometowns. Much respect to her. I just don't see a world in which she stays. I think the final two, which they've teased, that Grant really struggles with the final two, who to pick. He loves them both. I think it's clearly set up to be Latia and Giuliana, two baby faces, two women we root for. I still think it's going to be Latia. Maybe Grant moves to Salt Lake, and I know nothing. We shall see. Let us know what you think at GIPod19. What are your predictions? Who are you voting for? I'm so locked into this. It's not even a bit. I literally cannot wait. And I want to know what you all think. Mike Steph,
I have a question. I have a couple questions because I'm not really a viewer of.
You get down on some reality show. Just I haven't been able to convert you.
To just haven't been able to pull me into the Bachelor. I did the first Golden Bachelor.
I'm working. You did. And it turned out to be a total farce. Yeah.
Those biddies. But but no. What I was going to ask was two things. One is the superficial question. Out of the four remaining, which one would you pick based on looks alone?
Wow. Zoe from New York, 27, model, tech engineer. Zoe bio-wise, it's funny you asked, Mike. I put this in the article. Bio-wise, Zoe is the choice. Even when it was a full season of 25, she's gorgeous. She's brilliant. She would be the choice bio-wise. All these women are beautiful. Zoe, tech engineer and model. Say less.
Okay. And number two, and hopefully I don't put my foot in my mouth right now, but I'm quite sure Mr. Winchester will be an editing extraordinaire if I go too far. So I'm going to try not to touch the third rail. But you mentioned you don't believe Grant is going to move to Salt Lake.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Right?
He's not.
You don't think Grant would be a proprietor of some big love? Maybe he's looking like
this. I don't, Mike.
it's
No,
a
I do not.
possibility,
That's a separate show on a separate network that people can watch. We're not gonna have a big love segment. There's not gonna be a hybrid with The Bachelor. No, I don't. Grant's gonna pick Latia. They're gonna make it work. Maybe they'll go to church, but it won't be in Salt Lake City. Maybe she'll come to Texas to meet him in Houston, in H-Town. Mike, we shall see. But there is legit reason to tune in. I'm working on you. I'm working on Brad. Hometowns, check it out. It's a big deal.
Okay.
Can't wait. Mike Steph. Okay, this is clearly Mark's end of the episode. You know how I got nothing left in the tank. You know how we get down here before we get out. What did we miss?
You know, good thing that you double back and ask what did we miss, because once again, I'm going to try not to touch the third rail. But during the show, during Elimination Chamber, and I don't know why my eye's burning right now. At the very beginning, when they were doing the national anthems, you had the American national anthem, you had the Canadian national anthem. Of course, there was some displeasure in the Canadian crowd during the American national anthem. But Pat McAfee made a point, especially the first hour of the show, to express his displeasure or to the Canadian audience of them, booing the national anthem, disrespecting the national anthem. Now, and I think he said, yeah, y'all disrespecting the country, y'all disrespecting the national anthem. I don't like that. Now, somebody must have gotten to his ear, because after the first hour, he really didn't make no mention of it whatsoever. Even when Logan Paul brought it out for cheap heat, brought out the flag, he still didn't say anything about it. But this is my little semi-editorial. He called it disrespectful, and in most cases it would be. But unless he was fully prepared to expand and to put in context why the audience was showing the displeasure of our national anthem, then he probably should have ignored it instead of veering dangerously close to acting like we was in bizarro land of how they used to categorize Canada back in the McMahon era of, oh yeah, they're not going along for the ride, so these fans don't know what they're talking about. I found that a glaring insight to maybe his whole psyche when it comes to what's going on in our country right now. But it's just like, dude, if you're not going to put in context the reason why these fans are doing XYZ, then don't mention it. Yeah, that's what I think we missed.
Oh yeah, no doubt, Mike, and that's coming off. I mean, this show is 48 hours right after Trump and Zelensky at the White House, which was all over the news, and people felt one way or the other in this country. I think if you step outside of the U.S. in particular, was not a good look at all to kind of like, fit into the stereotypes that many people, the negative stereotypes that many people have about Americans, and particularly political leaders. Yeah, particularly political leaders in America. So it did pop me when the audience just 90%, it sounded like, just completely booed. And then the same singer sings the Canadian national anthem. It's, yeah. Listen, yes. Watching my words. It was just such an interesting weekend, Mike. I completely hear you, and you're right. I did hear about some of that fallout online, particularly with Pat McAfee, someone who is not accustomed, by the way, to making controversial statements, and yet it seems like he's fine. He's relatively bulletproof, and he'll be on the air this week, and we'll move on. In terms of what did we miss, I have a few notes here. Number one, Bayley. I realized about 20 minutes ago that I forgot to give her flowers during our discussion earlier in this episode about the Women's Chamber. I know you're a Bayley fan. We love the role model here at GI. Big shout out to her. In terms of TNA, Mike Steph, Elijah, the artist formerly known as Elias, officially signed with the company. He had a fun tag match with Joe Hendry on Impact about 2 weeks ago. Last week's Impact, we saw the return of Tessa Blanchard. She wrestled on the show for the first time since 2021. I have nothing else to say about that. In better news, Obafemi tagged with the Hardys, and although they lost to the system due to interference from the newly signed Colognes, Oba once again proved why he deserves all the belts. Present tense. Final two, Mike. Diana Taurasi. Yes, we're going to the WNBA. Diana Taurasi officially retired after a legendary 20-year career, all spent in Phoenix, all spent with the Mercury. She is immensely popular here, no surprise. And in my estimation, she is the most important athlete in pro sports in Arizona history.
Okay.
Period. The resume, what she's done for the game, being legit the face of the league through different iterations. DT, the GOAT, what a career. I'm sure we'll have more to say in coming weeks. But of course, congratulations to her on her retirement. Also, Whoopi Goldberg coming out with Diana Taurasi. She mispronounced her name on The View.
Okay.
And then Diana Taurasi came out and said, "Oh yeah, hey, it's good to see you, Whoopi. You don't play with DT. That's why she's even during her retirement tour, she's still not opposed to the smoke, Mike."
But was it an honest mistake, or was that? Do you think that was some undercover shade?
No, honest mistake. Finally, this is my last. What did we miss? I think we're going to have GI at the movies next week because Queen of the Ring, the film based on the life of Mildred Burke, hits theaters this Friday. That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's shoot. Yeah, that's it. That sounds pretty good. I think you tied it into a nice bow.
I'm glad I could do that. Mike, it was so great to have you back.
I'm just glad that I didn't get myself in. Well, not myself. I'm glad I just didn't get the platform into trouble. Because you're a master. I give you, and I give Mo oodles of kudos, because y'all are the only two that know how to corral me. I mean, I've gotten better over the years to being corrallable, if that's a word. But yeah, but. No, I give y'all oodles of credit. So trust and believe, you let me touch, but you didn't let me burn everything down. So yeah, it was great. It was great. I swear, every time I come over here, I feel more and more comfortable. With a lot of things, So yeah, once again, I really appreciate you having me on. It was a blast.
We love having you, Mike. Grateful for your time. Grateful for your support. Thank you for being the GI bro. Final question for you. A lot of our audience probably familiar with you, hopefully by now. Some may not be. How can our audience connect with you and support your work? Season 3 this month. Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. Talk to us.
Yes, I am the host and creator and proprietor of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. Like Tyler said, I'm embarking on my 3rd season on the YouTube streets. This coming June will be 6 years total as a podcast. I originated in 2019, and but once again, you can get in contact with me mostly on Instagram at Mike _Steph STEPH. Yeah, that's the best way to contact me. I'm trying to really wean myself off of, this, and Blue Sky is what Blue Sky is. So, yeah, you can get in contact with me at that. You can check out the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast on all streaming platforms where podcasts are available, and on the YouTube channel of Mike Steph _. Next week is seeming like it's going to be the premiere of season 3. I don't know, for some reason I'm trying to talk myself out of it, but regardless, this man over here will be my co-host. I'm not even gonna say guest, because my co-host on the season premiere of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. So whether it's March 9th, which is the tentative date on March 16th, which I don't know, it's leaning toward March 16th, but neither here nor there. This man will be right on. Actually, he'll be on this side, and I'll be on that side on my platform. But yeah, please check it out. Please check it out. And of course, during football season, please check me and the Mojo King out on 19 Media Group's Hidden Gems Football. We drop each and every Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday during the football season. We wrapped a couple weeks ago. Please check out the last episode. You'll be glad you did. And I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mike. I look forward to it. We'll see you again soon on the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. We got to have you back on, by the way, as WrestleMania season approaches.
I called my shot.
You called your shot behind the scenes. Mike will be back before you know it. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.